Thank you. I normally need to decide whether should I go for academic way or commercial way, and I found I'm toward the end of the session, so I will go for commercial way. So, if you knew Trump win the election, what would you do 6 months ago? I know more than half of you already knew that, right? What I did, I bought Bitcoin. That's give me some credit over my capability. So what happened to shipbuilding market today? I want to talk about two major factors. One is what we call cycle. Another one is incentive and motivation. So before starting, I want to explain why I'm talking about now ship financing, because I'm working for fertilizer group. And as you know, fertilizer can be carried by dry bulk and container, and even liquid bulk as a MR, and also ammonia as LPG vessel. So basically, it need to cover all the sector of shipping sector. So that's why somehow we tried to transport 12 million ton last year, and then we carried by smaller size of geared bulk, as well as LPG vessel, which is ammonia carrier, and also container, as well as tanker carriers. So I will talk about it because I come from South Korea, and then I work for Hanjin Shipping. If you knew the name, then you have been here so long time. So, and then basically when 2016, when shipping market collapsing, then Hanjin Shipping bankrupt, and then I had to move to Singapore, and then I was making new shipping analytics in S&P Global, which is Standard & Poor's, and then I was heading there, and then moved to Dubai 1.5 years ago. So basically, whenever you look into certain maritime sector kind of conference, you have seen my name many times, but all the details analysis you can find in LinkedIn or Google. You can just type my name, you will find in detail. And today I just want to talk about, as mentioned earlier, shipping is about cycle and also incentive and motivation. We are talking about green finance, right? And then I have heard so many times about green financing as well as alternative fuel. And then one of the factor I heard from fertilizer side sector, we talk about a lot about ammonia as an alternative fuel, and as well as a massive shipbuilding investment over the last 2 years. Whoever owns ship now, congratulations, your asset is already 30% up. But also you who have an asset for maritime, port, etc., you already earn massive money over the last 2 years because of this shipbuilding sector have one very important matter. It is dominated, monopolied by 3 shipbuilding countries in Asia, which is Korea, Japan, and China. So that's why even you want to buy ships, you cannot, because it's fully booked now until 2029. So one thing we need to understand why shipping cycle happen, because earning of ship has a cycle. As you can see here on the screen, you immediately see there are massive spike, drop, spike again, and drop. And I just want to say one thing you may remember. When you can get green ship financing easily, it's peak of market. Don't do that. Right? You are very difficult to get the financing. That is best timing of investment. So this is something you know, right, very well. If you invest in any sector, we have a cycle because we have an earning cycle as well. It's driven by monopoly of shipbuilding as well as geopolitical reason. And what we know in that peak and down is basically driven by last time COVID-19, driven by massive congestion and quarantine and the inefficiency of something. If you order anything just two or 3 years ago, you may get Amazon or maybe whatever. It may take 3 to 4 months for you, maybe 1 year. And the timing of arrival of cargo is the key. So that nobody care about freight. They just paid. Right? That was cycle we have seen before. Now what we have seen here is asset cycle. So left-hand side you are seeing is ship price across all the sector. It's now almost record high level. Why? Again, shipbuilding is driven by 3 major shipbuilding country, which is monopoly. And basically they already fully booked in the slot. Why you want to build a ship in cheap price? So that's why they can increase the price very easily. And everybody know there was some kind of geopolitical issue in Panama Canal, as well as the Red Sea, many things driving force behind all those asset hike. But more important one is we are talking about is regulation cost is coming. And then obviously what we know currently is temporarily, we say Red Sea is the major part of price increase in terms of ship price, freight, because there are not much efficiency, which means basically you have a shortest route, but now you need to detouring. If you remember last year we have a heavy rain, and if you cannot use a Shekjai road, what you need to do, you need to detouring. It costs you a lot, and it takes you so much time. That means your cost of delivery is massive. But it will maybe return to normal maybe toward the end of this year or next year, because maybe we are seeing some normalizing supply chain. Means our expectation is freight will go down or corrected because of supply chain normalize. On the other hand, what about ESG and then also, how can I say, pure emission? Whatever we talk about now, green finance is heavily linking to what we talk scope 1, 2, 3 emission. But is it going to be stricter or looser? We know it will be stricter and cost you more. That's why ship price likelihood cost you more. And all the sector we may need to pay more. So there are many things, I will not talk about this because the earlier speaker already discussed it, but the key is a fact. Is there really any investment in pure transition now? The answer is unfortunately, yes, a lot of number, but not scale. No, sorry for that. Just 5% of global fleet is now alternative fuel driven, but they are all dual fuel. You can use original fuel basically. So that's why what we are seeing here is many people talk about ammonia because I come from fertilizer, but actually even fertilizer carrier does not use fertilizer as ammonia, as ammonia as a pure. But how come you believe ammonia can be the future fuel in the 2020, 30 and 2040? It's very difficult to say without incentive and motivation. But what we know is it is really happening, a lot of projects happening, but unfortunately it's not scalable. So that's why what we are seeing here at this point, it's not just the shipping, it actually all across transportation. Biofuel is now the major area we are seeing as a greener fuel, but problem for now is they need to compete with aviation as well as automotive and even port and now even power plant. They want to use greener fuel. So it means my main conclusion is shipping is basically cycle and then you need incentive and motivation. But at this point, what we can say is it's very difficult to finalize any green shipping deal. Means you are at the good point of investment. But if you suddenly have a very good investment now, you should be careful about it. So that's why I have so many things to discuss, but what I want to say is that we can discuss in detail in a person. But remember, you are in the cycle, and also you need the incentive and motivation as a major driver to predict, not the news. You need to see the prediction based on people's incentive. Thank you very much.